Hi, and welcome to the College and Prep Future Spotlight series. We're so excited to be here today with Kristen Kaschub from the Darrow School. And as you know, at College and Prep, it's our privilege to work with students and with families as they're really trying to navigate the waters of the admissions process, which can be tricky at times, but is also really joyful and exciting. And we're so pleased to be speaking with you, Kristen. Kristen is the Director of Admissions and Enrollment Management at the Darrow School. And Kristen, if you could introduce yourself, a little bit about Darrow and what really drew you to join the community there.
Sure. Thank you for taking this time. I really appreciate it. My name is Kristen Kaschub. I'm the Director of Admissions at the Darrow School, and I've only been at Darrow for a little over a year now. And part of the reason why, I've had years of experience at admissions, but part of the reason why I came to Darrow was that I really felt that they had a mission, that they had a concept of who they were, and they did really wonderful, engaging things with their students. And I wanted to be a part of that.
That's great. And it's such a sort of ubiquitous part of our lives now that we can get online and check out schools and see quite a bit from just the websites, but there's so much depth beyond the website. I would love to know sort of first a 30,000 feet view of Darrow in terms of what you think some of the strongest programs are, but then also, some of those little details that people might miss from the website, or maybe a story of a student who's really thrived at Darrow that you've sort of enjoyed watching.
Sure. I love to talk about Darrow. So I think the beauty of Darrow is really the fact that we are a small community that values the individual. And I think that there are plenty of students that have come to Darrow that really needed to be heard and seen and weren't having that experience either at their home school setting or at another school. And so they come to Darrow and they realize, oh my gosh, people really want to hear what I have to say. And that comes inherently in the fact that our classes are smaller. Our means of teaching is much more engaging. It's very project-based and hands-on learning and real-world context to what they're learning. If I had to say some of the programs that students gravitate to us for, there's a couple actually. We have what we call Centers for Excellence, and one is actually in musicianship and performance. So the other is in arts, design, and innovation. And the third and final is what we call CAPE, our Center for Academic and Personal Enrichment. So I'll touch on all of those very briefly because I know that I would just want to give everyone a little snippet of Darrow. So the beauty of these Centers for Excellence is that it not only allows students to sort of dabble in the arts specifically, in either music or in visual arts, but it also allows those that want to go beyond sort of the curriculum or beyond high school and move on to that pre-professional arena. And we allow them to do that and give them the offerings and sort of the support to do that, including portfolio development. We also have a professional level sound studio so students can record and can do production work on that end. The other piece of these Centers for Excellence is that it allows, because we're in the Berkshires, what we do is we bring a lot of professionals to campus to work with the students, do workshop style classes, and then have a culminating performance or exhibit. So on the performing arts side, those are called tannery sessions, which are on our website, and they're videos of performances that students have done with professionals. And then on the visual arts side, it might be a showcase in our gallery here on campus, or it could be within a space somewhere in the Berkshires, whether it be a coffee house or Mass Mocha. So I think that that's kind of the beauty of both of those programs. We also allow independent study work throughout our program, not just in the arts, but those are moments where it might be pretty vital for those that want to go on that pre-professional route to sort of focus on that area that they know they want to do. Within our art space, we have, a wood shop, which is really amazing because it actually lets us harken back to our Shaker heritage, where they're doing post and beam construction. We also do, we have a ceramic studio, traditional photography lab, a digital photography lab, which includes film, and then studio spaces upstairs with this beautiful view over the mountains, so over the Berkshire Mountains. The visual arts side is actually tied into our what we call our innovation center, and that's because that's where the 3D printers are, the CNC machine, robotics, and programming. So anything that students can imagine on the visual arts side can be 2D, 3D, you name it, they can do it there. So that's pretty amazing. Now, the Center for Academic and Personal Enrichment is really not only our learning skills program, but it's also everything outside the classroom. So it includes our health and wellness program. It includes our advisory system. Every student has an advisor, but the learning skills program is somewhat unique in that we have students that come to us with diagnosed learning differences, but then we also have students who arrive and realize as they move within Darrow that they might need that level of support, and it has a wide range. So it's anything from one-on-one 4 times a week, one-on-one twice a week, and then moving into 2-on-1 4 times a week or twice a week. Now, all of those, they have an individualized coach that works with them specifically. They are familiar with their background, understand their learning profile from submitted testing in the admission process. And then sometimes it's just that exploratory, like they just need supports in maybe organization, time management, and some basic study skills. So we help in all of those domains. And then of course, all of them have access to evening study hall. That's a structure where there's somebody from the math department. There's also somebody from the learning skills department that can help support their learning as they're doing their homework and really, buckling down in the evening hours. The other interesting piece of Darrow in that realm is that by being the size that we are, as we find students who are struggling within our classes or within the community in some way, we bring all the players to the table. So all the teachers, the advisor, the house parent, and of course, director of studies and the director of a learning skills department to sort of sit down and speak about and also strategize in ways that we can best support that individual student. So I think that's pretty unique in the world of Darrow. And so I love that because it really does foster that communication, and it allows for us to really keep a pulse on how all of our students are doing.
That's incredible. And I think not only with the individualized nature of the learning skills program, but then also just the level of student voice that's not just contained within the school, but really does get to go out into the community. So they get to try out those different roles and see how far they can go, which is really incredible.
I agree. It's pretty powerful to have access. Like we have a professional violin group here. And while we don't have a whole lot of violinists here on campus, it's not necessarily about violin. It's how we can work within that space. And they're working with our theater department as well as our performing arts side. So it's pretty unique.
Right. And I know that, obviously these amazing things are going on during the school day, but there's this other part of the day sort of between the end of classes and when they go to bed. Can you talk a little bit about what the outside of the classroom day looks like for students?
Sure. What's really great about a boarding school is that students have their entire life here in one location. They're living with their friends, they're going up with their friends, they're going to classes with their friends. Here, classes end basically around 2:15. And then there's a block that we call G block, which for us means it's an opportunity for those that are in that learning skills program to sort of have that time, that dedicated time with their coach. But it's also when a lot of teachers have their open hours. So students that are seeking that one-on-one support and really understanding the content of class have access to their teachers during that scheduled time. And then from there, they head straight to athletics. So while Darrow is really more sort of athletics to as a means of better habits in life and understanding what it's like to be on a team, we do have an exceptional boys basketball team, which is kind of unique as well. So our boys basketball plays in the AA league, and they will all be recruited to Division I and Division II schools. But then most of our other sports are, nobody gets cut, everyone gets to play. So everyone has to be on one team in the year. So there's 3 semesters for sports. And so there's plenty of opportunities in the sports realm. We have anything from cross-country running to soccer to basketball. And in the spring, it's tennis, softball, lacrosse, and ultimately ultimate frisbee, but then there's a robust fitness option. So if students aren't going to engage in team sports, they can still engage in the physical side of athletics. So they can do outdoor education, which for us is a big piece of who we are because of where we are. We go into the woods and we go hiking and rock climbing, and there's a little bit of camping involved in both the fall and in the spring. And then in the winter, it actually turns into downhill skiing. So for us, skiing is a big deal because we actually get on the mountain 5 days a week, which is a fair bit when you talk about a skiing program. And students can learn to ski or they can just enjoy skiing. And then beyond that, we have mixed martial arts, dance, yoga, and we also have a fitness class where they understand how to learn all those fun machines in the fitness center. But the other unique thing about Darrow is that for students who are not necessarily super into the athletics, they can actually fulfill their athletic requirement by doing theater 2 semesters out of the 3, and then fulfill their sports requirement in the spring if they want to. And the unique piece of the theater program is that we do a traditional play in the fall, and in the winter, we actually perform student written plays.
That's great. Yeah, that's part of my background is theater. So I always love when student voices are on the stage. That's great. And then so after sports, I'm, obviously.
Yeah, right. So sorry, I got so excited, I sort of lost track. So after sports, they head straight to dinner. And then after dinner, they have 2 hours of study hall. Now on the weekends, life is a little bit different. So we don't have study hall on Friday night. So there might be activities that are happening on Friday night. We actually might go to a movie, or we might have a movie on campus. We might have students go to the mall. They might do miniature golf. They might do laser tag. There could be some hiking trips or some biking trips. Every weekend is different. Like we're coming up on Halloween, and there'll be all things Halloween. Like this whole week is Spirit Week, where every single day is something different. And then it culminates with Halloween on Friday. And then they move in, they've done some, pumpkin carving. They'll do bobbing for apples, all kinds of fun stuff that is all about the season. But of course that changes and rotates, and we'll bring carnivals to campus where we have, food trucks and fun games on the field. So it really just depends. Life at a boarding school is never the same on any given weekend.
Right. And I really love that part about things like the pumpkin carving, those things that maybe were part of their family tradition at home, that they're not going to miss out on that at school. And I know that Darrow really does operate in a lot of ways like a family. Can you talk about sort of the culture on campus and how intentionally that's built?
Sure. There are a couple things about Darrow that are a little unique. One is that we not only have 2 girls' dorms, we also have 2 boys' dorms, and then we also have an all-gender dorm. And so the reason I mention that is that I do feel like there's a fair amount or fair representation of affinity groups on campus that support all different kinds of backgrounds, because Darrow community is very diverse. So there's a Black Student Alliance, there's a Jewish Student Union, there's a Spectrum group, and all of these folks are really responsible for our community discourse and how we speak towards different things in the world that we should really know about or be speaking about on campus. Now, the interesting thing about Darrow being the size that it is, only 100, 110 students on any given year, is that most schools, they would say, oh, well, there's freshmen, and freshmen only hang out with freshmen, and 11th graders only hang out with 11th graders. The beauty of Darrow is that there's a high crossover of every single grade, not only in the classes, but in activities, in the community, in sports. And so it really very much feels like a family, because I feel like people get here and they instantly feel welcome. That's the one thing that I always hear when folks come to campus, is they say, wow, everyone here is just so nice. And so they do feel welcome. They feel a part of something. And of course, it all starts in the dorm. Every dorm has a house parent and somebody that lives there, 1 or 2 people that live there. And then of course, a series of faculty that have duty within the dorm, and they'll have advisors in the dorm. Everyone does have an advisor. Now, this is somebody that works with about 5 students in any given year, and they can keep the same advisor throughout their time at Darrow, but they meet almost every single day. They have structured meals on Friday evening and Friday lunch, but then they have meetings throughout the week as well to sort of touch base, make sure everything's okay. But they're really their point person to sort of navigate life at Darrow. Same thing with parents. Like if they say, oh, I haven't really heard from my son or daughter, and then you can say, that's actually a good thing. because that means that they're really engaged and they're really enjoying it. And don't worry, we'll get them to call you. You know, they do check in. But I do find that folks at Darrow really feel like they're part of a really wonderful, warm community that they can really invest in and be themselves.
Mhm. And that's all that a parent can ask for, right?
That's
A
right.
place where their child feels like they can be themselves. So important. Well, thank you so much. Before we wrap up, is there anything that that you really would like to sort of leave for the parents to think about, or maybe a question that parents often ask that you would like to just sort of address right away for them?
Well, I have touched on a lot of the things that parents do usually call and ask about. Like their main focus is really on, how do I know that my child is not going to get lost? How do I know that you guys really are taking care of my child? This is a big thing for me to let my child leave my home and go to you. And I think that some of the structures that we have in place really do solidify that. One of the other programs that we've actually implemented this year, and it's really taken off, and I think it will gain some traction throughout the years here at Darrow, is our 9th grade program. And the 9th grade is one of these moments where students have never really been away from home before. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to learn how to manage their time and what to eat and how much sleep they need and all these things. So the 9th grade program is actually a thematic approach that harkens back to our Shaker heritage, because our campus is a former Shaker village. So the theme is sense of place. And sense of place is pretty powerful. Like, who am I individually, and what is my impact on a community and this place? And it focuses on not only the 9th grade as a cohort meeting every single day, but also an emphasis on excursions to reinforce what it means to be part of a community. They have, dual taught English, history, and environmental science is taught together, so they can really cross and weave in those themes throughout. We bring in a little bit of that health and wellness piece, where it's, what is appropriate nutrition, how much sleep do you need, how much how do I use technology, how much should I use, and then also some of that learning skills, like some establishing some foundation for their next 4 years here at Darrow. How do we really enforce, what do you need to do in terms of your study habits and skills to find success here at Darrow? So I think that's been pretty powerful for that 9th grade. And so I love that piece. But I think what I would encourage families to do is to go on our website, view our virtual view book, which is a really interesting sort of concept within our website, which allows families to understand our programming in a visual format. And of course, it shows the beauty of the campus. Attend one of our open houses. Some of them are virtual. We're aiming for some of them to go in person soon. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And then, of course, give us a call and visit campus. Our campus is open for visits.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad we had a chance to chat.
Me too. Thanks again.
No problem. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.